So today I got a special guest with me, Mark Black, who is the Vice President of International Operations of the NHL. Hello.
Hello. Thank you very much for having me, Patrick.
So Mark, you are here because there's a special thing in Germany going on, especially in Düsseldorf, in the next few days. It's the Hockey Day. What is the Hockey Day?
Yes. So Hockey Day is a concept we borrowed that I'm a Canadian, and it's a concept we borrowed lightly from Hockey Day in Canada, which happens every year in Canada and moves around to different cities. And really, essentially, it celebrates the sport of hockey. And when we thought about, from an NHL perspective, how do we support hockey internationally? This was an idea that we thought was worth trialing and to see how it would work and if there'd be an interest in the local markets and the local hockey community and the broader community in general of trialing that type of an event. So really, the essence of the event is to celebrate all levels of hockey, right from the beginner, the first time you pick up a stick, right through till the final time that you play, whether that's at the highest level and you manage to make it to the NHL or to the DEL or DL2 or represent the national team, or it may just be somebody who, stopped playing competitively at 12 or 13, 14, but still plays to this day in their adulthood with friends, and it's just casual and fun. We want to celebrate all those journeys because we feel like hockey is a really special sport that creates great connections and networks with people. And this event provides an opportunity to say, let's invite as many people as possible, make sure that everyone has an introduction to the sport so they can learn a bit more about it, and hopefully create more journeys for people through sport and hockey specifically, and celebrate the great sport that we have.
So how did the idea to host the Hockey Day in Düsseldorf and not in Berlin or Munich or Hamburg, some of the big cities in Germany, but Düsseldorf, which is basically a second-tier city, so to speak?
Yeah, I think the event of the Hockey Day was really created to allow us flexibility and to say that we have opportunities to do certain things, whether it's international events or games, but we also have these fan events that we can take around as well. And we wanted something that had a bigness to it, um, but that we could take it wherever we wanted. And in some of the other countries, we've been to cities that have 30 or 40,000 people, which people often say, well, why would you ever take an event to a place like that? And we say, why not? Why not provide anyone with an opportunity in any city with an option to host this game? And you look at the history of hockey in the region that we're in. The NRW, I believe is I won't try to pronounce it, but I think that's the acronym, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But it's a great hockey market in general, long hockey history here, and one of our top players, Tim Stützle, is from a nearby city to here. So the Hockey Day event is the NHL is kind of the organizer of it, but we work hand in hand with our broadcast partner as well, Sky Sports, and we'll be showing an NHL game in our big giant tent. We have a 25 meter by 50 meter tent with a bunch of hockey activations and a big screen in there and a stage. And we'll end the event on Saturday night with a showing of an Ottawa game. And we thought, what better place to pick than, the nearby hometown of Tim's, knowing that we have the Ottawa game being featured against Anaheim. And we just thought the connection's really great there. And we envision that when we look to do more things internationally and specifically in Germany, we know that, the cities that have real strong hockey history, Dusseldorf, Cologne, you mentioned Munich, Mannheim, some of those bigger ones, that we'll be back to do more events with them. And we thought this was just a great opportunity to kind of start learning and trialing some of these events. And the city's been great to work with as well in finding the space and helping us support. So there's a variety of different factors, but I think the strong hockey history here certainly was attractive, and the connection to Tim Stützle also was a great connection for us.
So how long did it take from the idea, let's do a Hockey Day somewhere else than in Canada, to, come to fruition by doing the Hockey Day in Düsseldorf?
Yeah, so we've actually we trialed this idea a couple years ago, I think 3 now in Finland and Czech. So we actually just recently I came from the Czech Republic from Pardubice, which was our 4th that we'd done there. Um, we did one in Gothenburg a few weeks ago, and that was our 2nd there. So there's a lot involved. It takes many months to plan these and to program them and to really bring them uh, into the vision that we want. And we really want it to be about the local hockey. So there's a lot of discussions, with the different leagues that are involved. The DG is heavily involved. The local club here has been heavily involved, right from the pro team. Will bring the Stanley Cup out Friday night to the game that the club's playing in, but right down to their youth teams who will be coming out throughout the weekend and allowing an opportunity to enjoy, but also the regional Ice Hockey Federation and the NRW as well. We really want to make sure that the entire youth community has an opportunity to be involved in it. Um, and we just thought that, we've done those 3, but we really want and see a great opportunity here in Germany with all the good work that's been done at the development level to see players like Draisaitl and Stützle and Seider coming through, that we just felt like now is a good opportunity for us to step up and say, you guys are doing a great job. How do we support you? What are the things that we can do that are maybe unique and are outside the box of what is typically being done? And we thought that this event, given the success we've seen in other countries, now was a great opportunity for us to do it and to trial it. And we're really excited to see how it goes over on Friday and Saturday here in Düsseldorf.
So, since nobody, basically nobody everywhere, does anything out of goodwill and because he just wants to do it, what are the goals of the NHL or are you to get out of a hockey day in Dusseldorf?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. At the end of the day, we are a business, and sport is a business. But I really feel that for this event to be successful, we do take a bit of a backseat to it. Our goal really is to help hockey and educate more people about the great sport of hockey and why it's a great sport, and also get hopefully more boys and girls interested in playing. And immediately the benefactor of that will be German hockey. If young boys and girls want to play and sign up because of events that we're doing together with the hockey community in Germany, we don't have youth clubs at the NHL. There's no benefit to us initially with that. It's really is the local hockey community who benefits off of that. And if they want to start going to games, obviously we do play select games each year, but they're at the start of the year. They're limited. They're only in specific countries. So again, if they want to get interested or they get interested in hockey and going to hockey, they're going to go to support their local club and have an opportunity to go to those games live. So again, they will be more the initial benefactor. I think us as the NHL, obviously, our hope is that through falling in love with the sport and being introduced to the sport, at some point along the way, they're also going to be following these players and see their journey. And some of these players, I've mentioned them previously, will make their way to the NHL. And the hope would be obviously they become fans of those players and those teams. And we, through the league, then will grow, through increased fandom. But really, that can't happen without a really good connection and relationship with the hockey community in Germany. And, we view that the better they get and, the bigger it gets here through them, we will see the benefits in future. But really, initially, our goals are more of the fundamental. How do we support kind of the infrastructure and the grassroots? And we always say widening the funnel of fans and making sure that people do have an opportunity to learn about hockey and have a hockey experience of some type.
So, since every major sports league in North America is now going to Europe, like the NFL just did for quite a few years, the NBA is going, the Major League Baseball is going to England, and the NHL has been all over Europe as well. And now you're going to Dusseldorf or to Germany. Was it any factor in planning that going to Germany that the NFL is already here and the NBA is here and everybody else is here?
Not really. I think we look at it as what makes sense for us and what's something that when we look at our international strategy and what we're trying to do and how we view our ability to hopefully grow the sport and work with the local hockey community. When we look at a Sweden or a Finland, Czech Republic, they have a well-established, uh, hockey community there. They have a long history. They have a lot of kids who play the sport and have played the sports, and a lot of infrastructure available to them uh, for the sport. But when we looked at then, what's our next level of opportunity with countries who we feel like have done a really good job, but really have a lot of promise still. And if we provide them with support, there's a great opportunity to really grow the sport. I think that it became pretty apparent that Germany was a really good opportunity for us. As I mentioned, one of our best players, Leon Draisaitl, was a German player. It would be, a little silly for us to ignore the fact that we do have this amazing talent and additional, younger German talents who are coming through. So, when we look at it from our perspective, it's a little different than, the NFL. I don't know that they'd have an equivalent Leon Draisaitl to their sport. So, for us, it was a decision made. Strictly on the hockey side of things, I think in the opportunity that we saw and the relationships that we have within the German hockey market, and just knew that we can help them out, and we can really, grow the sport. And I think the German market, the sporting market in general, is a great sporting market. Obviously, football is football in Germany, and it's the premier sport in a lot of ways. But I don't think it's surprising that the NFL and the NBA has also gone here, just because there are great sporting fans in Germany. They love sport, and as we've seen in North America, there's room in the sporting landscape. Fans are often fans of multiple teams across multiple sports, so we don't really view it, really as overly a competition. Like I said, for us, it was just a great opportunity with these great players, and it's an optimal time. Uh, we felt like with the promise, with the infrastructure of German hockey and how it's done over the last several years.
So there is now this hockey day in Düsseldorf, and how about becoming a recurring event in the future? Or is it just a one-time thing?
Yeah, that would be the goal. Really, I think what the stance that we've taken, we've played international games. We were the first North American league to do international games, and this is dating back to the 30s where we started doing them. So we have a long history of playing games, but I think our view was more, we'll come in, we'll sell some tickets, play a game, and then we'll go and we'll give people an opportunity to see it. But that was kind of the extent of our responsibility. And I think over the last couple years, 5 or 10 years, I think we viewed that the sport landscape has changed, and we're a hockey community in general, and there's more we can do to support the community of hockey beyond Canada and the US and through our clubs, who all do a great job. But there's more that we can do to support. So in the case of Germany, the plan is let's learn, let's do these types of events, let's see what works, and areas that we can improve, or maybe there's new ideas that come out of the events that we do. So I would say we're really kind of in that initial phase to better understand how best we can support the hockey community. Just because something works in another country, I think one of the things that I've learned, because I've been involved internationally for so long, is that you really have to treat each country as its own. And just because it works somewhere else doesn't mean that it'll work in every single country. So you learn by doing, and I think that's the start of where we're at. But we fully expect to have, a significant presence in the German market with regards to, certainly on the fan event side and the grassroots side, that can really help support hockey. So I'd fully envision, more of these similar types of events. Some of them may be a little bit smaller in nature, and some, maybe bigger events as well. I think there's a mix of both of those. But yes, this is not a one-off event or opportunity for us in the German market. We want to commit to the market and really be supportive of the hockey community, and we only do that by showing up and doing these types of things.
So do you have any criteria already for the future, to what has to happen at the Düsseldorf event to bring more or even bigger events to Germany?
Yeah, again, I think we recognize that we're building something, and that's our goal, is to really build together with the hockey community. And you have to learn from those experiences. So I think our first thing is really, let's start doing these things. Let's see what works and what resonates with the market, and how best do we communicate and integrate the existing hockey community, whether it's at the league level or the federation level with the DEB, who are really important partners of ours, or the various leagues that are in Germany as well. And how best do we figure out, what are their goals, and how best do we help them with those goals, whether it is to grow the game or grow fan bases. So I think, what we'd like to see is, and we've already seen it, from the city perspective. We work closely with D Sports, who've been just fantastic partners and supporting and helping us, bring this event to life, because there is a lot involved in it. And then on the hockey side, we wouldn't be able to do this event if the federation, the DEB, wasn't supportive, if the local club, the DEG, if all the surrounding youth clubs weren't interested in being involved and coming out and supporting it. So we've already checked a lot of the boxes that are really important to us, to make sure that it makes sense for us to do these events. And of course, we'd love to see, the hockey fans come out and celebrate hockey with us. But equally as important, we'd love to just have, non-hockey fans who may be curious about hockey, or maybe it's just a family looking for something to do. The special thing about our event and the hockey days are they're free events. We don't charge anything. You come out, you can spend as long as you want on site. We have little prizes for people to win as part of their experience. And really, we're trying to create a really family-friendly environment, free, that gets kids out. They can meet other kids. Families have an opportunity for something to do on a weekend. And, I think if we get the reception we expect from that, I think it'll be a very successful event. And ultimately, that's what's most important for us.
Is there any international vision the NHL has you can talk about? Like the NFL do has the vision to have teams playing the regular NFL from Europe and having maybe a Stanley Cup in London or in Europe as well. Is there any plan like that for the NHL as well?
I would say that's not something that's on our radar. It's not been a discussion for us. I think there's always rumors, because you see these other leagues and they talk about doing different things, and then assumptions get made that all, say North American leagues will follow suit to that. Again, we view ourselves as independent of any of the other leagues, and we're not going to follow suit because they're doing something. Um, so yeah, we have no intent of trying to create, a NHL Europe by any means. There's great leagues that are already established. There's great teams. There's great fan bases already established. What we want to do is, how can we better support? We want to continue, helping them grow. I think a lot of the leagues in Europe have seen tremendous attendance growth over the last couple of years. So again, I think hockey's on a great upswing, and I think we just view it as, how else can we support the great work that they're doing already? And that doesn't involve us, coming over and trying to create teams. That's not part of what we're trying to do. It is really how do we get more, kids involved in the sport, educate the market about the sport and why we think hockey's such a great sport, um, and then work alongside, the federations and the leagues and all the great work that they're doing. And, I think our international, aside from playing the games, we've announced that 2028 we'll be doing the World Cup of Hockey, and part of that will happen in Europe. So that announcement will be coming, in the next, I would say, couple weeks. We'll probably make the announcement as to the host market that will be in Europe. So we're more on that side of things, as to more of an international event, or our NHL games, as opposed to worrying about trying to create NHL teams in Europe.
So you are now the vice president of international operations for the NHL. What excites you most personally about the international growth of hockey?
Well, that's a tough question. I
I
I
know.
spend I spend so much of my time on international. I'm a Canadian kid who started. My mom tells me when I was 2 years old, or I don't know, a year and a half, I started walking, and 2 weeks later, I had a rink in my backyard my dad had made for my older brothers, and I was out on the rink trying to skate with them. Hockey to me has given me so much, that great memories, great experiences, great connections, great relationships with people. I've been able to travel the world with it, have met some amazing people and seen amazing things. And I think what excites me the most is just the opportunity to give back and to, when I go to a fan event and I see a young boy or girl picking up a hockey stick for the first time, and I see them just whacking the ball around and this big smile on their face and the laughter that has, and then the parents are smiling as a result of that, it brings back a lot of the memories that I had and the experiences I had and how fortunate I was to be given those opportunities in hockey. And I would just love to see, it's a hard sport with a lot of obstacles with costs involved in it, obviously. And how do we do a better job as a hockey community to make sure that as many boys and girls who want to have an interest and have a curiosity in doing different things have that opportunity, and hockey isn't removed from it, due to costs or other difficulties. And so that's probably it's tied to international, but by far that's, I have a huge passion for this, and it's what, gets me going every morning. And I'm on, I think, day 20 of European travel right now with all of our fan events, and that's what gives me a lot of energy is, the smiles and the excitement I see from people who are experiencing hockey for the first time.
So now, since we're coming too close now, um, I'll give you the three quick either-or questions. As our first international guest, by the way, you guessed it. Are you ready?
I think I'm ready.
Okay. Either the traditional hockey markets or the emerging markets.
So in relation to importance,
What's your favorite?
oh, yo, boy, these are gonna be tough for me. Um, oh. I would probably say the emerging, um, only because I just see, again, it gets back to the opportunity to introduce more people to the sport. Obviously, there still is that opportunity in the existing markets that have a strong infrastructure. But I think on the emerging side of things, there's just so much more people who haven't had the experiences in the sport. So I would say the emerging right now certainly is this my choice.
Okay. The NHL Global Series games or fan focus events like Hockey Day?
Yeah, for me, I would say the fan focused. I think our Global Series games are amazing and they're great. But there's a finite amount of tickets that we have. There's only certain cities that we can go to in certain countries, based on the infrastructure of the rinks associated, because obviously there's a large amount of costs that go along with putting on those games. Whereas our fan events, we're very flexible. I mentioned it before. We've been communities have 25,000 people, and the almost disbelief that type of event comes to their city and how grateful they are and thankful they are that they're not forgotten about because, you mentioned it, it's often the bigger cities that get the attention, they get all the big events. And, it's these smaller communities that are really often the fabric of the country. And quite frankly, a lot of our players, whether it's Canada, the US, or it's Germany, or it's Sweden, a lot of our players come from these small communities. And, it's important not to forget about them and to say, we recognize you, we thank you for all you do and the efforts that you put in to make these communities, these smaller communities, still stay viable. So I love the fact that our fan events are able to go to those locations too, and we're not restricted.
Are you more into like grassroots development or major showcase events?
Oh, these are pretty good. Uh, I would say, again, for me, grassroots. I just think like that's the essence of kind of that hockey day. You're I'd love to grow these events because, again, we're just starting them in Europe. So I think there's where, we need to be initially to prove that they have a viable place, in the hockey landscape and they make sense to do. And then there's my ultimate vision of what I'd love to grow these events into. And I really love them to be a celebration and a storytelling of first hockey memories that people have. And like I said, the people who are involved, the coach who's coached for 35 years locally, or maybe the ice cleaner who's been at the local rink for 50 years cleaning ice. There's so many great stories of the people involved in all the sports. But I know specifically on the hockey side of things. And I really love that kind of the entry level where it's really just about you're playing for the love of the game. It brings me back to Canada, playing in the streets, where we had to move the nets because cars were coming. Um, there's a lot of memories that I have, and I just think that sport is incredibly important to youth, especially nowadays with social media. There's the challenges around healthy, active lifestyles, and I think all sports have an obligation to really step up and do more and to support parents and give these kids opportunities to get out and be more active and be more engaged and work on the development of soft skills. So for me, I think grassroots in across all sports are incredibly important. And I think we as a sporting community just have to really spend more time and focus and efforts and money in that, because I think it contributes to a healthier, um, population in as a whole.
Okay. And now to basically finish off, if you had to describe the future of ice hockey in Germany in one sentence, maybe two, what would it be?
You've learned I have long answers, so I appreciate the to ask me to keep it quick, which is another challenge I have. Um, I would say that in two sentences, I would say that there's just an incredible amount of promise in this market. We've seen the players who are already playing in the NHL, but I also think in general, the athletes who come out of Germany and the sporting fan in Germany, we just have a tremendous opportunity here to introduce more people to what I think is the best sport in the world.
Okay. That was quite short, actually. So it's been fun talking with you about the hockey day in Düsseldorf, and can hope everybody enjoys it and have a great time. And we will see each other again for another hockey day, basically, or
Yes,
something
Patrick,
else.
it's been an absolute pleasure. I appreciate you reaching out and showing interest. And yeah, I'd invite anyone who's in the Düsseldorf area. I'm not going to try to pronounce the location. I probably won't get it very good, but GGP Platz, I think is or GGP is what it's known. But downtown Düsseldorf will be open. Actually, tomorrow morning we have about 500 school kids we've invited out for a private session for them and their teachers. And then we open tomorrow night from 5 to 9, and then Saturday from 11 to 9. And again, it's a free event. And yeah, we'd love to have as many people who are looking for something to do on a Friday night or a Saturday, or just curious about hockey in general, or already involved in hockey and want to have a hockey experience. So again, Patrick, thanks so much for your time and your interest. And it was a pleasure talking to you and hearing your story as well.
So, talk to you again.
That sounds
Bye bye.
great. Thanks, Patrick. Bye bye.